When you're moving to Dallas-Fort Worth with a family, you can't compromise on the important things. School safety and a good area are practically non-negotiables. But DFW is huge, and if you don't know the right spots, you could be making a Texas-sized mistake. So in this video, we're going to be showing you the top 5 places for families in Dallas-Fort Worth in the 500,000s. We're going to cover everything you need to know, from safety and schools to shopping and traffic, and even show you properties that are on the market right now that you can buy today so you know exactly what to expect. Now, if you can buy a house over $500,000, you've practically made it in the DFW area. The world is your oyster, and there are a lot of options out there. So to kind of give you guys a lay of the land and help us figure out exactly what we're looking at, we're going to be using Google Earth here, or Google Maps. And that way you guys can follow along, do your street view and everything else, which is a really powerful tool whenever you're looking at a new place to live. But feel free to follow along if you'd like. And we're also going to use a couple other tools, one of which is actually available to you guys, perfectly publicly available. We're also going to be using a little bit of back end, the MLS, so you get to a little bit of a peek behind the curtain at what real estate agents see. But starting off, we're going to just do a quick little top down here of Dallas-Fort Worth as a whole. You see we got Dallas-Fort Worth, you got the 820 loop, 35 west and east, the 635 loop here. And these are going to be like the major highways and everything. We're going to cover some of the drive times and traffic as we go along. But we're actually going to start our search off here in the North DFW area and actually on the west side of things. And you see we got like this little group, this trio here, insert meme about Ron, Hermione, and Harry Potter getting chewed out and them being like, why is it always you three? But anyway, I want to point these guys out here real quick because the most important thing, the thing that everyone talks about whenever we get on the phone with potential clients is they want good schools, they want good safety, and they want something that's going to fit their budget. And I feel like this is probably the best place to start because it gets all of that and then some. And it really does get slept on by a lot of people moving to the area because it looks really far away from everything important. So let me address the negatives that everyone worries about whenever they look at the Northlake, Argyle, Justin area. If we take a look here, Northlake, Argyle, Justin's just tacked on over here. It'll pop up, I promise. There it is. That's where Justin boot is made, by the way. So if you wear cowboy boots, that's where you get those. They make them there. But 35 actually connects directly into 407, which is this road right here, and then 377 for Argyle. So you can just go straight over here if you want to get on the 35 or go straight down 35. But the reason I point that out is because you take this down to the 114, and the 114 shoots straight across to the DFW airport. So from Northlake, you're looking at maybe half an hour. I think it's closer to 25 minutes to get to the airport from here, depending on traffic. So for a lot of people who are traveling a lot for work or just want to visit family, things like that, it's really convenient to be able to get so easily to and from the airport. And then if I zoom out a little bit further here, you can actually take the 114 all the way into Irving or straight to Dallas. So I think from Dallas, Northlake is about a 45-minute drive. It might be closer to 50, so less than an hour to get to Dallas. And you're driving a really long distance, if I might add, because if you don't know anything about Texas, it's pretty big and the drive times will add up very quickly. So to be able to get from Dallas to basically anywhere under an hour is really good. So that's a really big draw for a lot of people. And another big one is Denton up here. Denton kind of doesn't really get mentioned a lot in the DFW area, but there's the Texas Women's College is up there. Texas UNT, University of North Texas is up there as well. So a couple of colleges, and that's the main reason people go to Denton anyway, honestly. So if you got kids that are going up there, Northlake's a really good spot for older families. I say older families, like families with like almost like adult kids, adult children. I don't know what you call them, like, you know, their kids are grown up and going to college. It's a really convenient spot for them as well. So a lot of people end up doing that as well because there's a lot of really good neighborhoods here. Super safe because it's basically just residential. All of this used to be farmland. Like if I, let's see if Google Earth is going to work with me. It was fighting me earlier. So if we take a look at this, you can see there's obviously like neighborhoods where all these residential roads are, but otherwise it's all farmland. Same with Argyle too. It's basically still all farmland and large lots. Like there's some Like these are huge lots over here in Argyle, but there's not any reason to be out there unless you live there. And the chances of you committing a crime in your own neighborhood, like against the people that you live with, is a lot lower than it would be in more industrialized areas. So the safety is ridiculously good. The schools are really good too, because, and I'm not just gonna, blow smoke up your butt. I'm gonna actually show you guys. I think it's Northwest. Maybe, come on. Northwest ISD, I believe it is. Yeah, so Northwest ISD, Justin, Texas, A-rated. Now, obviously, that's good. A-rated is good just across the board, but the fact that it's in such a small area really lends itself. So if you don't know anything about rural schools, typically they tend to suffer on these rating systems. By the way, for our ratings for schools, we use niche.com. I'm not a school expert. I'll be perfectly honest. I don't even have kids. So a lot of the stuff we get is from niche because it's like peer reviewed. Basically, a lot of this is submitted by user experience as well as the school ratings on metrics. So you get feedback from people who have actually been in the schools and people who are experts in this. So we like to use and lean on their opinions because we don't want to misinform you guys. We, like, with my limited experience, I like to point people towards more storied individuals whenever it comes to those industries. So but niche is a really good metric whenever it comes to learning more about schools and school districts, and it's got a breakdown on everything as well. And you can see the same issue that you run into with a lot of rural schools, you run into here, just because the amount of the size of the school versus the number of people that are moving to the area sometimes suffers. So the student to teacher ratio may not be great, but overall the school's doing great. A is basically across the board. And it shows. Like, a lot of people love Northwest ISD. I hear a lot of really good things about it. The other thing I love about this area is all of the neighborhoods, the big master plan communities, are just fraught with not just amenities, but community as well. I think that's probably the biggest draw when it comes to things like Harvest, Pecan Square, Tree Line, which is over here. You can't really see it. We'll get to those in a little bit whenever we take a look at the MLS. But I do want to point out a couple more things, is the fact that you're right up the street from this is called Elizabethville technically, but the Texas Motor Speedway is over here. There's a ton of shopping here at the Tanger Outlets. There's a Buc-ee's. If you don't know what that is, it's crazy. It's like a gas station on steroids with really good bathrooms. Strip malls, restaurants, and a lot of little neighborhoods popping up over here as well, like oh god, what is it called? It's Wildflower Ranch, another master plan community. That one's got a lazy river. We got videos on all of this as well, so if you guys want to go check those out, we got playlists for this part of the DFW area. But without languishing on too long, schools, they're phenomenal here. But one of the biggest things, especially when it comes to Argyle, is that not only is the school great, but they have a phenomenal football program as well. So one of the best in Texas. I think the only one that it could really rival it, at least in DFW, would be Aledo, which has another great school, or another great school district with phenomenal football programs. And if you don't know anything about Texas, high school football is basically bigger than the NFL. We have high school football stadiums that rival colleges in other states. The amount of money that we put into this is ridiculous. But I mean, hey, we got a lot of football players coming out of here, so maybe we're doing something right. So if you got a kid that's a football nut, they'll fit right in at Argyle and they'll do really good. But other than that, there's not a lot of stuff going on in these communities. They're very small town feel. Like I said, Justin's got like a little bit of a old downtown area with some mom and pop shops and restaurants. Northlake has the Northlake Commons and the Hilltop truck stop. So you got like a little bit of shopping, a little bit of eatery, and a place to hang out. But it's very small town. Nothing crazy. If you want nightlife, really, you kind of have to go into Alliance. Lucky for you, that's less than 20 minutes away. And you've got all kinds of restaurants, shopping, the medical district even. So you're not very far away from any of that. And that's why I like to point this one out. And the houses are really nice too. So if I actually zoom in on it, this is the MLS, by the way. I'm sorry, I'm fidgeting with things on my desk. But This is the MLS, the multiple listing system. This is what we as real estate agents use for like our back end. We can see stuff that's on the market, it's been on the market, things that are going to be on the market. So this is what the system wizards see whenever you ask real estate agents about you know questions about houses. And this is just a map, kind of gives you a breakdown. You could see a rough estimate of how many houses are in each of these areas, but basically how I have this broken down is everything in the 500,000s, and I'm specifically looking at new homes. Now we can see pre-existing homes as well, and if that's something you're interested in, go ahead, give us a call, because that's a bit more of a specialized search. But for new homes, it's a little bit easier to look at. And right now in 2025, honestly, new homes with builders and their incentives are being competitive with the pre-existing market. Like people listing their homes are having difficulty selling because builders are practically undercutting them at this point. If nothing else, just the interest rates alone make them so desirable for people. But if we take a look up here, each one of these little markers is a listing. You'll see some black ones here, like this one over here. That means it's coming soon. So that one isn't actually on the market. Those are a little bit rarer. But for the most part, especially with new builds, the builders are pretty good about actively listing it, even if the house isn't completed yet. That way you can get more details. But I want to take a look at this area here because, especially Argyle being as desirable as it is, the fact that they've got new homes going on in there is like unheard of for a lot of people. You saw how broad the if I take a look here again, just a quick look at Argyle. Since Argyle's been around so long, it's over, I think, 100 years old as a city. A lot of the lots are bigger and older, which means it's harder to get into it. It's harder to consolidate those to make master plan communities or new home communities in general. But luckily, like, it looks like Sandlin's got something up here. We'll take a look at that here in a second, but I do want to point that out in a second. Before we get to that and I get too carried away, I want to point these guys out because these are probably some of my favorite neighborhoods. I talk about these a lot. We got Pecan Square down here and Harvest up here. It looks like, at least as far as the 500,000s go, Harvest, there's not a lot of availability. I know they got some stuff in the 400,000s, which is still technically in your price range. You're just not going to get as many bells and whistles up here because they're down to some smaller lots. But it's a beautiful community if you do end up buying a pre-existing home or a $400,000 home here. They've got this really big water feature as soon as you come in next to the amenity center. They got outdoor amphitheaters, huge parks that go through the middle of the neighborhood here. You can kind of see it, big green spaces, parks and playgrounds and gyms and a couple of pools. So Harvest is really pretty. It's got like a farm theme to it. They've even got a huge greenhouse area that I'm pretty sure is open to the residents as well. But I wanted to point that out because that is a Hillwood development. So Hillwood is a developer that does these really nice master plan communities, vets all their builders, so everything has like the same feel to it while it's still having variety. Everything looks really pretty, and the neighborhoods all kind of have a theme. But yeah, a lot of people love their neighborhoods, and that's why I wanted to point it out, because they also made this neighborhood right here, which is Pecan Square. This is possibly one of my favorite neighborhoods, not necessarily because they make nice houses. The houses are great, don't get me wrong. The schools are great too. The safety is amazing, but the neighborhood is just, it's one of the only neighborhoods where I've felt like there was a genuine sense of community. Like, it's possibly just like you go outside at the end of the day and there's kids everywhere. Like, they've got this big town square looking thing here. You can even see it on the map. That's got a big park in the middle. The HOA is super involved. They got a bunch of these houses that it kind of looks like, it just looks like a town square. It looks like it inside of your neighborhood. On top of that, the amenities are crazy. So they've got this big covered basketball, pickleball, event center area that a lot of people like to use for all sorts of stuff. Like, it's so desirable that people are coming in from Harvest, which is already an amazing community, going across the street to sneak in and use some of the amenities here. The HOA's having to shoo them off just because so many people, like, it's just that cool of a place. But the builders here are also really good too. So they, I believe, are expanding. There's going to be a new middle school and I think a new high school over here. But yeah, they've still got plenty of stuff in the 500,000s range. I do want to point this out really quick while we got it, because Highland is all over the place and they're a great builder. I love them. They're one of my favorites. and they just make a really pretty house. The CEO's really involved. The founder, she's still like very much got her fingers in the pies here, and I think they have been one of the best rated interior decorating builders of like in America several years in a row. So yeah, she's still making great decisions for the builders or for the company, and they're one of my favorite builders. They're great to work with. I've never had any complaints, and they just make a really pretty house. So for this one is let's quick look here. This one's almost 600,000, so you're looking at 596 for about 2,000, almost 2,100 square feet. 2-car garage. You get nice wide luxury vinyl plank. It looks like decorative frontage to your rounded island here. That's a very interesting choice. Glass uppers, no hardware on anything, which may be a plus or minus. I know some people, they want hardware because, I mean, it's nice to have handles on your stuff. Some people don't because either they've got a special style, like they've got a certain material they want to use, or the one I think is most practical is like a lot of times builders will just use the single pull on the cabinets or drawers. And if you want one that's got like the a bar handle or something, you got to drill 2 holes. And that means you're either going to have an exposed hole or you got to put a plate behind it, which doesn't look as nice. So having the option after the fact in a lot of cases, some people do actually like. But this one came with like double ovens, built-in microwave, the works, honeycomb back here on the backsplash. I'm a big fan of this because you get a little bit of a texture here on your countertops. So you still get the white on white, but it's not just all white. A bricked fireplace goes all the way to the top. Really nice touch. The bay windows here. Yeah, so like it's just a really pretty house. A little bit of flair, nothing too crazy. Bay windows on the master as well. You get the little vanity nook here, or the makeup nook. Her vanity is built in on the tub and everything. But yeah, so big fan of Highland, and they're going to be in a lot of the neighborhoods we look at, especially in this price range. So you can't go wrong with something like that. But let me take a look at another one here so we don't get too pigeonholed. Coventry, they never put any photos on their stuff. I'd love to be able to show you guys their stuff, but they only ever do like maybe one. David Weekley. Okay, let's do a David Weekley because a lot of people know David Weekley. Even if you're not from Texas, they're all over the place. And they make a really good house. So again, you're looking at that upper fives for these guys. I like David Weekley because their floor plans are very fun. They're not like unpalatable, but they're different. I'll give them that. Especially their steel floor plan. That's probably my favorite. But you see, you get a little bit of material variation here. A little bit of a craftsman look here to the front of the house and the back. Decent sized yard. Living dining combo here, so tons of windows, plenty of natural light, especially with the transom. And I know this floor plan actually because you can get, this is kind of a drop down from the kitchen, I believe, or it's the other way around, but you can basically, one of the options, you can take the ceiling height and bring it all the way across so there's no drop down and you just get really high ceilings throughout the entire house basically. Yeah, pop up here in the or a tray ceiling here in the master with the, it looks like you get a couple of egress windows, but they still popped in a picture window. These are really nice. They're a little expensive, but it's the fact that you don't have all that hardware on your window. It makes it just feel more open. The only problem with bedrooms is they have to have 2 points of egress. One is usually the door. The other one is almost always a window. And so unless you got a door to your backyard, that's a code thing. Otherwise, I'm certain they'd do it all the way across. Yeah, you got a little office nook here. Yeah, interesting island layout. I don't know how I feel about that diagonal island. I bet you get plenty of walkway space though. Every time I see it, I just feel like that one's not for me. Everyone's got their own taste though, and I'm certain somebody's over here like, Jack, you're an idiot. You can do all these crazy things with the diagonal island. Hey, I mean, if nothing else, you get it pointed directly at the TV, so you can be sitting there knocking out the dishes and still watching your favorite shows. Yeah. But yeah, no, they make a really nice floor plans, really fun floor plans. You even get like some cool hardware with this one. This one is like the brushed bronze. I know that, or brushed brass. I know that's coming in, especially with green. That combination I always thought was a little bit like gardener feeling, but it looks really nice. So here's a Pulte. So Pulte's a little bit more like the mid-range production builder, but I feel like they put their money into, I think, the most important things in the house. So you still get a little bit of flair. You still get like luxury feel items without, they're not doing anything crazy, but it's like their houses just have a little bit more oomph to them, it feels like, in this price range. So you get like the natural cut stone here on the facade, a little bit of decorative items, herringbone there. Okay, here we go. So you do actually get some photos. It's like a 3-inch decorative baseboards. Nothing too crazy here. Otherwise, this is like a engineered hardwood, it looks like. Engineered wood of some sort. They put like shiplap on the wall. I think that's a builder's option. But yeah, I don't want to see the bathroom first. Why am I seeing the laundry room? Okay, so you do get some decorative cabinets. That's cool, I guess. But let me see. There we go. the living room, where you're going to spend like 90% of your time in your house. So look, tray ceilings. You get a decorative fireplace over there. Kitchen's in a decent spot, so it's still that open floor plan and everything. Nice little subway tile backsplash. They did like a light on light, but it's like a different tone, so it's still gives it some variety here. Getting all sorts of notifications. But yeah, it's like you can see like they put their money into the important things. You're not skimping on materials. You're still getting like good flooring, good tile, and everything in your backsplash. The cabinetry is a little bit decorative. You're still getting like a fireplace with a hearth and some brick and everything like that. Tray ceiling, crown molding. But they still got like 7-foot doors, which, given the height of the ceilings, honestly, I think it's fine. There's some of them where they'll put 8-foot doors in like a really small space, and technically that's a luxury thing, but whenever you've only got like, say, 1,800 square feet or something, it makes an already smallish space feel even smaller for it to be that tall. And I think some builders don't think about that, like, see, decorative banister. And this one's actually a decent sized house. So 2-story building, 3,000 square feet right here for low 500s. Pretty good deal at $171 a square foot in a neighborhood like this. And that's where a lot of that extra money is coming from. So, excuse me. But yeah, you're going to find a lot of neighborhoods like that in this area. Not to languish on too long about this, but Justin's got a lot of that stuff too. Bloomfield, Beezer, some of these other builders that we'll probably run across. But I want to take you guys across the way. I know technically that one's next, but let's get you over into the Dallas side of things, because I know a lot of people who are actually looking in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Like, they hear Fort Worth, they kind of tune out. I don't want to scare you guys off too hard. So let's take a peek over here, because I think these are probably some of the better areas to land if you're trying to be next to Dallas. And technically, these aren't in Dallas. So you can see Dallas, there's some options here in the 500,000s, but these are like one-off builders. You're not really getting a neighborhood. You're getting like a remodel or something. And that's all well and good. And if that's your taste, hit us up. We'll help you guys out. But I do want to look at some of the neighborhoods, because a lot of people don't just want a new house. They want everything around them to be newer. They don't want to be the only one with a nice house on the block or a new house on the block. And the two areas I think that people should be looking at are going to be Rockwall and Heath. Now, I'll say it right now. There's one big downside to these guys, and I'm certain you can figure out what it is. It's probably the fact that it's on the other side of a lake from Dallas. So if you need to go into Dallas, you got to go around the lake, and that can be a little difficult. Luckily for Heath, you can take this down to the 80, shoot it across. You're into downtown in less than half an hour. Rockwall, on a good day, you can get in there pretty quick, maybe about 20 minutes, and you're in downtown Dallas. Now, traffic is a different issue, because if you notice, there's only 2 bridges going across Lake Ray Hubbard right here. And those get pretty packed with traffic pretty quickly. Luckily, they're doing a lot of construction. They're literally doubling the width of this bridge. It's like 8 new lanes or some crazy. But right now, it's kind of a pain. Don't worry. They're going to alleviate some of that. But honestly, if that's the worst thing that I can find about these two areas, they're looking pretty good. I'll say right now, they both have phenomenal schools. They're both very safe. And they've got beautiful houses in a very affordable price range, all while being close to the lake. The fact that you can be close to water for less than $600,000 is insane. Like, if you know anything about the DFW market, especially after 2020, it ramped up hard, and they are not making any more lakes as far as I know. So lakefront property was already a premium that just became a premium. But on top of that, being this close to Dallas, it honestly still baffles me. But let me show you guys real quick, because these are really good school districts. If I go Rockwall ISD, and I don't know if Heath has its own. No, yeah, I think they're in. Yeah, they're Rockwall ISD as well. But basically, A's across the board. Like, it's a really good school district. Safety's phenomenal because there is a lot of stuff to do in Rockwall, and there is some industry, but for the most part, it's all along the highway. So once you get into the residential, like, there's nothing past the commercial area. It's all just residential. So the only people going out to the residential areas are residents. They're not going through there to get somewhere, which makes it really safe overall. Oh, where to go? There it is. So actually, let's take a look at this here real quick so I can kind of point some stuff out. Where am I at? There's like Louisville, so let's go over here. Google Maps does not like me scrolling very quickly. So here's Rockwall. We'll start off with Rockwall. He's just to the south, and we'll get to that in a second. But you can already see, just here along the 30, which goes all the way through Rockwall and past it into Royce City and all that jazz, it's all just shopping. Tons of shopping, tons of restaurants. You've got your grocery stores. You've got like department stores. You've got car dealerships. The schools like right over here. Yeah, see Walmart, TJ Maxx, the plaza at Rockwall, Chick-fil-A. So there's a ton of stuff to do here. And that means they've injected a ton of money into the area as well because you're living next to a lake. Most of the people who can afford to live next to the lake also have money, which means that their communities end up really rich. And that means you get really good infrastructure. Everything's really well taken care of. And it shows in Rockwall, too. It's a really pretty place. And then tons of housing availability in the area, too. So speaking of that, actually, before we get to that, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So down here's Heath. And you can see Heath is a lot more low key. So you get a lot of the cool things about Rockwall, like the great schools and the great safety, being close to the lake. But if you want something a little bit slower pace, you go to Heath. It's a lot quieter. You can see already there's a lot of older communities, larger lots. It's more green. There's a little bit like the high schools right there. You got stuff nearby like your Tom Thumb. So you still have some convenience items. You can still get all of your grocery shopping in. But if you want to like go do the fun stuff, you kind of have to get out of Heath, which some people love. I know that I prefer to be a little bit further away from the city. It's not fun having 18-wheelers drive through your residential area to get places, and that's not going to happen here. So, you take what you want based on your area. But jumping into it real quick, I do want to take a look at some of these neighborhoods because there's the reason I want to point these out, and I'll kind of lump Fate into this because Fate's basically 5 minutes up the road from Rockwall. And they've got some houses coming up here as well. The thing is, Rockwall is running out of space really quickly as far as residential goes. So I want to point this out because a lot of people don't know about it, or if they do know about it, they're not like really considering it. But there are some new home options here, but they are going away quickly. Now, Stonefield Homes, I'm actually familiar with them because they build a house over on the other side of the Metroplex in Aledo, which is another really good area. I'll give them kind of an honorable mention here in a little bit, but for now, Stonefield Homes, let's take a peek at them because like they got a very luxury feel to their stuff. You may not be able to tell from these photos. We'll see. I've never actually looked at some of their listings online, but yeah, they do a lot of really good materials and whatnot. So you're getting a lot of value density to your home because this is only, look, about 2,400 square feet. I was hoping we'd be able to actually see. Oh, there we go. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, boom. That's a lot of color. Obviously, you can get stuff a little bit more toned down with them, but they use really good materials. These look like 7-foot doors. They may be 8-foot doors. Actually, that's a little tall. That may be an 8-foot door. Yeah. So they use a lot of good materials, a lot of decorative touches. I mean, these are squared off doorways and everything, but I think that's kind of their style is a little bit more squared off, bold. Built-ins over here. You got a little wine cooler bar, wet bar area. So yeah, I'm a big fan of their stuff. It's just like it's kind of got like that Perry Homes timeliness with a little bit of flair to it. But yeah, quick look here. Oh, I like this. Okay, see, this is a little bit more toned down. I think that last one was like a model home or something like that, but you can still see, you get like the light on light, but it's got a little coloration to it. more luxury hardware, a built-in electrical fireplace, which is great if you don't like the updraft and everything of like an actual fireplace, the cleaning and maintenance, but you still want a little bit of a decoration. This one's got sliding glass door, which is really popular, especially if you got like a covered back patio, which given that column, it looks like this is. Yeah, another more flamboyant one with the built-ins here. Yeah. So yeah, you're getting a lot more flair with a builder like this. So glad we got to see that one because I never get to show off some of the less known builders. It's usually stuff like this where you get to see David Weekley. And David Weekley makes a great house. I think they've got very fun floor plans. Oh, they only have 2 photos. Never mind. I'm not going to be able to show you guys their stuff. That's the same one, isn't it? That's Pace Setter. We'll take a risk. I don't think I've seen a Pace Setter home. They only have 1 photo. No risk there. Let's take a look at the Fate one because Perry. So I mentioned them a minute ago. Perry has a very timeless look to him. I wouldn't call them luxurious, only because a better word for them would be elegant yet bold. Tom uses the term timeless, and I think that's a really good descriptor for them because that's not a great photo. Come on, guys. I'm trying to talk you guys up. But basically, they use really good materials. Their houses are very grand feeling, but not like overwhelmingly so. Like their stuff it basically meshes with everything while standing out on its own. I'd love to be able to show you guys their stuff, but unfortunately, they don't have too many with good photos. All right, cool. We'll look at Beezer instead. So Beezer is another one. They've got some very interesting floor plans. They've got some more traditional stuff as well. But some of their things, I'll admit, they've got like one floor plan that's just kind of throws me off. But this one looks like one of their more traditional ones. But they do make a really good home. Decent materials. A little bit in the way of decorative touches here with like the shutters and whatnot throughout the house. Tumbler style cabinets. They got hardware on there. Decorative frontage to your island. Rounded corners. The works. Yeah. So got the banister. Yeah, a lot of things that really stand out about this. You got the engineered hardwood. I do like this little touch right here. On the ones with staircases, Beezer tries to put in little dog nooks, which is cool. So if you got a little furry friend running around, a cat or a dog, they get their own little place. They're a big fan of that. Them and Kindred Homes, I believe, does it as well. Pop up there in the bedroom back there. Double vanity. And this right here, you may see this later on. I hope not in this price range, but I'm glad whenever builders do the undermount sink because some of them have started doing the top mount where it sits on the counter. And hey, maybe that's your style. I'm going to say right now, that's definitely not my thing. If nothing else, the cleaning alone kind of kicks my butt just because that's another little edge you got to clean around. Plus, it eats up counter space. But I really do like it whenever they do this. So much easier. You just wipe whatever's on the counter into the sink. I know you're not supposed to put things down the sink, but, you know, I'm a child at heart, which also means I have poor cleaning ethic. Separate issue. But decorative banister, yeah, you get a lot of cool stuff with Beezer Homes. I think their houses are pretty fun. Fate and Rockwall, really Rockwall, and Fate by extension. Really desirable place to be. Great schools, really cool houses, and you're in like the perfect price range at the $500,000 to $600,000 mark to get into basically anything. There's some more expensive stuff out there, but you're basically at the starting line, just over $500,000, which is where most of the stuff's going to be. Now, I'm going to point out Heath. They don't have a lot going on right now. It's really just Devonshire, which is a really nice community, but I'm going to point out Heath because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more stuff once Rockwall finally does build out, because people still want to be close to the lake, and Heath is a gold mine. But this is, I believe, Devonshire. Oh, Heath Golf and Yacht Club tract. It might be a one-off builder. Hold on. No, okay. Interesting. I thought this was going to be Devonshire, so I'm not familiar with this neighborhood, but it's got golf and yacht in the name, so it's got to be pretty nice, right? Being right next to the lake. Let's take a look at Altura Homes. So 3-car garage. If you're a car nut, that's definitely a really cool way to go. I don't know what's up with this water line thing. I don't think I've ever seen that before. That's kind of cool. So we're going to learn on this one together. An extra wide driveway. That's really nice. Got a place to store your RV, I guess. Looks like a 8-foot front door, 8-foot, maybe 8-foot doors here. It's hard to tell with those double doors. Okay, waterfall on the island, decorative front here. Little archway on the vent. It's nice. Okay, okay. We're experiencing this together. I've never seen this builder before. I can't attest to their build quality or anything like that, but so far I'm kind of liking it. This is nice, at least from what I'm seeing design-wise. They're using some slightly different hardware than you normally see. Okay, standalone tub there in the bathroom, crown molding in the bedroom. His and her vanities, framed mirrors, which I'll point out, if you don't know anything, a lot of times builders will just put a plain cut mirror on the wall, and most people won't notice. I mean, it looks fine, but if you really want to make your bathroom stand out, even with like a pre-existing home, just get a regular old picture frame, put it around your mirror, and it's going to make it really pop. Or get a framed mirror. Either way, it's a really nice thing you can do whenever you're doing a remodel or you just want to add a little bit more punch to your bathroom setup. Great. Love it. It looks great as well. And even with these square tiles here, they were really smart. It didn't just do like a square grid layout, which would be really boring. They took these, I think it's a 2x2 maybe tiles, and they just did a diamond pattern. Literally just turn it 45 degrees. It might be kind of a pain for the guys cutting it, but as far as the aesthetic goes, looks a lot better. So yeah, oh wow, I actually really like that. Most people just put in like the little white, built-ins and everything. This looks downright professional, so that's quite a closet setup. Love that. All right, cool. Well, so far I'm fairly impressed for the first time seeing these guys. Nice big garage area. Oh yeah, okay. And so just on principle, I'm not going to speak on them as a builder, but I am a I am a big fan of the design choices that they're making. But that's kind of why I want to point you guys in the direction of Heath, because if you like the Rockwall idea, I feel like Heath is going to be the way to go to stay close to the lake once Rockwall finally gets built out. So just a little, keep an eye on that one. But let's take a quick jump down to the south of the Metroplex, and don't let me lose you because I need to point something out here. If we take a look here, you got, well, here, let's do it on Google Maps so it's a little bit cleaner looking. Get comfortable. But obviously we got Dallas. This is Fort Worth. I don't know why it's not showing up. Arlington here. And if we take a quick glance down south, you got this guy right here. And don't let me lose you just yet because I want to point something out here. From Mansfield to Fort Worth, maybe 20 minutes, 25 on a bad day. Mansfield to Dallas, you just take the 287 to the 67. You're looking at about a 35-minute drive, maybe without traffic. And then 287, you take Mansfield down here and take the, what is this, the 360 straight up through Arlington, which you can get to Arlington Live, or Texas Live, and all that jazz. Plenty of stuff to do in Arlington, but you go all the way through Arlington. And this right here is the DFW International Airport. So you can get there in less than half an hour from Mansfield. And a lot of people have been moving to Mansfield, not just because of the great schools and the safety and all the new infrastructure that's going in there, job opportunities, the economy's great. I could basically just go on and on. But on top of that, you just saw super easy to basically get anywhere in the Metroplex from Mansfield. So a lot of people like traveling nurses, especially C-suite executives, top chefs, people who need to be basically all over the place for their job, end up coming here. And so it's injected a lot of money into the area because like these are pretty well-to-do people. They want the area to be nice as well. And so you've got a lot of really cool neighborhoods going into this part of DFW as well. And I kind of want to point that out. You could see with this little search here on the MLS, a lot of things are showing up here in that price range because of it. So before I get too much into the housing portion of things, let me just Mansfield ISD. That's Mansfield town. Where's the ISD one? All right, well, Mansfield, not Mansfield, Connecticut, pretty please. Texas. Maybe that'll help. There it is. Mansfield Independent School District. That's what I'm looking for. So pretty good rated schools. A rated. Yeah. So they've got great academics. They've got like some 5A schools out there. The sports programs are actually really good as well, as you can see here. I think everyone kind of suffers on resources and facilities is what I've noticed. I don't know if I mentioned this. We use niche.com. If you guys want to follow along with that, I probably did. But anyway, it kind of gives you a breakdown on everything. And school food always sucks, so I never even consider this one. So these two, I'm certain they're important to the school rating, but honestly, like they're always a little bit low. It's basically everything from sports up that I pay attention to. So the only reason I can imagine teachers and clubs and activities are low at all is just because of how fast Mansfield has grown. They're probably just struggling to keep up with the number of students in the school system, to be honest. But otherwise, it looks like they're doing really good. And I've heard nothing but great things about Mansfield ISD. The only one I think that rivals them in that area is probably Midlothian. And we're not going to talk about them in this video, but I'd highly advise you to go check it out. And since it's in your price range, I'll actually advise, we have a video on this for the $400,000 if you want to go check out Mansfield. I'll talk about it a little bit more in depth, but some really good neighborhoods there as well. But we're going to focus on Mansfield right now because there's a couple of really, really nice ones. I believe this is Somerset. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it right now. So obviously actually, one more thing before we jump into the neighborhood portion. There's a lot of stuff to do in Mansfield too. Tyler Perry was actually supposed to build a studio in Mansfield. We don't know if that's still happening. It's constantly talked about, supposed to be in the works. We've got all kinds of fun names for it, but basically it's going to be like Texas's Hollywood. We've been calling it Ye Hollywood and Yollywood, but there's a ton of commercial development coming to Mansfield. So a lot of shops, a lot of restaurants, things to do. And so basically the people of Mansfield can live their entire life inside that city. They don't have to go, I mean, a lot of them do go into the Metroplex, but you can basically do everything you need. You have your job here, you do your grocery shopping here, and live here, all within less than a 10 minutes drive of anything. And I think that's been one of the really big draws to the area. Plus, you're close to Joe Pool Lake, really nice recreational lake with a lot of little parks and everything. You can kind of see the green spaces here. So a lot of people who are big outdoorsy people like to come to this area, and living that close to it is really nice. But let's take a look here, because I believe that's John Houston. Yeah, John Houston. It looks like they've got the bulk of the listings at the moment, but this is Somerset. Now, Somerset's a really nice neighborhood because it's got, as soon as you come in, you're right off of the highway. And I don't want that to scare you because I know you're thinking highway noise, but the first thing you do is you exit off the highway and you go around this really big water feature, which kind of helps cut a lot of that road noise down because it puts some distance between your neighborhood and the interstate. Or I think it's actually not an interstate, business 287. And it's got like this big tower with Somerset on it and like all these decorative features, fountains, green spaces, parks and whatnot. And then you just see all these beautiful houses throughout the whole neighborhood. So you're already just kind of wowed coming into this neighborhood. And there's a ton of stuff to do. There's an amenity center, playgrounds. There's like a catch and release pond. And it looks like this builder only has 2 photos, unfortunately, so I can't really show you guys more of that house. But let me see if I can find some others, because there's some decent builders here. I'm glad actually Bloomfield's in on this one, because Bloomfield, I like Bloomfield. We sell a lot of their houses. And I don't mean anything bad when I say this, but they're a very middle of the road builder. And I think that's a good thing, because they cast the widest net when it comes to the houses. Like, everyone likes their stuff. They've got enough bang for your buck while still adding a lot of cool things to their house. They use a lot of really good materials. They got a lot of really good options. And if you're building with them, you can actually pick a lot of this stuff too along the way. But you can see, even on the facade, you've got like the natural cut stone. The brick has like a little waterline effect here. A little canopy over the bay windows in the front. Actually, that's just triple windows. Not actually bays. A couple of little things here like the herringbone and the brick. So you can see what I mean. Like, even from the curb appeal, while everything is very similar in color, they did a lot of texture of things that are going to make it stand out. So yeah, this one is their, what is this? The Violet 2. I think that's one of their more popular ones. So as you come in, this one actually has the option for a study here. It looks like it's a 2-story. There's your triple windows there. I think this is actually the model. Yeah, so This one is, I believe that's the master over there in the corner. This one, you get like 28-something foot ceilings, open floor plan here with the kitchen in the background and the breakfast nook back there. So this goes all the way to the top, and then you get like these transom windows up here letting in a bunch of light. Yeah, 4-foot baseboards. Yeah, there's your master in the corner. Yeah, I remember this one. A lot of times you can also get this floor plan with like a decorative banister if you want this to be more open. It looks like they went with a half wall on this one, and actually if you got kids, while this may not be as aesthetically pleasing, I'm gonna tell you right now it's gonna cut down a lot of noise if you don't have that open, because kids are gonna be upstairs stomping around. And I know some people don't really like carpet. I actually advocate for carpet in your loft area if you don't want to just hear the pitter patter of feet over your bedroom at night. Luckily, the bedroom's not underneath the upstairs area in this floor plan, but some people don't think about that when they're buying a house. Yeah, nice decorative backsplash here. Tumbler style cabinets. They saved a little money not putting in hardware or anything, but no big deal. We talked about that already. Let me see the master bath here real quick. But yeah, you can see like you're still getting a lot of really nice features, like little window nooks over here. Vaulted ceilings, double doors into the bedroom and the bathroom. Half wall here on your shower glass. It's almost frameless. Double vanities. That's like 1.5 inches of granite or quartz. No builder grade, or just builder grade mirror. So you're saving money on certain things while still getting a lot of really cool features in the house. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck with these guys, and everything's very palatable. There's nothing in this house that's like crazy. You're not getting like random half walls or just, weird stuff in your house. And I think that's why I really like Bloomfield and why we sell so many other houses. But they're going to be throughout a lot of these neighborhoods. Let's see, what's this one here? Oh, Highland. Yes, let's take a look at this, because I think we already looked at one of their houses earlier. M3 Ranch. This is a really nice neighborhood as well. So this is going to be a smaller community than Somerset, but I think they did one thing that was really smart that I want to point out, because in a lot of neighborhoods, whenever you get the developer going in, they put down a bunch of houses, and in phase one, usually that's where the amenities go. Everything's like right at the front of the neighborhood. So everyone in phase one gets like all the cool stuff. And then everyone in the later phases gets pushed to the back of the neighborhood and has to drive like 5 minutes or whatever, if it's a big enough neighborhood, to get to the pool, which is kind of a pain. These guys were smart about it. They built their amenity center, I think in phase 3. So it's like right smack dab in the middle of the neighborhood. And it's cool because it's got like this big, I keep using the word cool. It's a really nice effect that they did where the houses in around the amenity center kind of face into it. So you get like almost kind of a town square in the middle of the neighborhood here. But a really nice touch. But let's take a look, because I like Highland stuff. I think, yeah, we already looked at one of their things. You can see nice tall uppers, glass up there, and then they did like a shiplap here under the island, which is honestly a really cheap thing that you can do that has a really nice effect. If you want to do like an accent wall, a lot of people do them sideways as opposed to vertical. But yeah, no, it's a really nice touch if you just need a little bit of oomph to your decor. Highland always does a really good job. I love their stuff, man. See, there you go. Shiplap on the wall. Easy accent wall. You paint some planks of wood. I make it sound way easier than it is. If you've ever actually done any sort of interior decor, it's a process. Don't get me wrong. But honestly, that one's not as bad as some other projects. Bay windows, love that. Gives you a little extra foot or two to put in like a sitting area. Makeup nook. Dark wall here. Nice little accent wall. Give you something to catch the eye. Matches the tile too. Nice. See, that's what I'm talking about. Their interior decor is just really, really nice. Love their stuff. Anyway, not to stick around Highland too much, because across the way we've got Integrity. I don't know about them. I don't want to speak on anyone I haven't actually. David Weekley, I think we touched on theirs. So let's take a look at TriPoint, because this right here is this is the view at the reserve. Let's see. It's actually called something else. Are you in the Lindera at the reserve? So these guys, it's called the reserve in certain parts, but the in like Twin Mills, I think, South Point. That's what the overall neighborhood's called. So This one is David Weekly. So we're not going to look at them since we already looked at one of theirs, but let's take a look at Tri-Point, because Tri-Point actually I think did a really good job in this neighborhood. I'm not a big fan of their model because they painted the brick like a really dark color, but I'd like to show off some of their other stuff, because Tri-Point typically actually does a lower price point and does like color packages, I think, in some of their neighborhoods, but this one they shot a little bit higher than they normally do, and I think it turned out pretty good. But South Point's a really desirable place to be in, that they are not offering a ton of extra houses in anymore. Actually, I think David Weekly's got the very last phase, and it's getting really difficult to get into South Point, but it's a really nice community. They've got a bunch of amenity centers and parks and pools and everything you could possibly want in a neighborhood. And I think the fact that it's settled in the position in that it is, like in the middle of 360 and 287 here, like you get these two crossroads here, make it super easy to get to either one of them. Whereas like over here in Somerset, while it's nice, you do have to kind of hook here and do like a highway to highway intersection. It's just a little bit more involved. But yeah, where'd that Tri-Point go that I was looking at? I don't know integrity. I don't want to speak on you guys. No offense. I'm sure y'all are phenomenal. But let's take a look at some of the Tri-Point stuff, see if they actually got photos. Yeah, you can see here, so you get like nice tall baseboards. You get upper, like, I think these are standard size uppers. Nothing crazy, but like, I think Tri-Point is just like, they've got a very like simple look to them, not to speak poorly about it, but like their stuff isn't going to clash with like anything that you put in it. Like you can go with like a really bold look or something a little bit more fun. Yeah, you could throw basically anything you want there and the house is going to be like, yeah, it'll eat that up. So if you're an interior decorating nut, yeah, this is really good style to go with. Let's take a look at Integrity Group. I can't really speak on them because I've never sold any of their houses or anything, but I'm kind of curious. So we got some nice decorative facade work here. I think, is that a metal roof? That's crazy. Those are expensive. Okay. A little bit of decoration in the cabinet department. Herringbone here on the backsplash. Yeah. All right. Tray ceiling, crown molding. It's not bad, not bad. Okay. A triple mirror here in the bathroom, and then somebody can't hold the mirrors or the camera straight. I'm not sure what's up with that. I'm not going to blame the builder for that one. Okay. So yeah, South Point's really nice, and let's take a look at David Weekly, because their stuff, they've got some really cool, fun floor plans, and I know we took a look at one of theirs earlier, but they are making up the bulk of the sales in South Point at this point before they close out. So I do want to show you guys like what they're putting out here. Sliding glass doors, decorative fireplace, hearth, or, oh God, what's it called? Anyway, I like this here. So they do a vaulted ceiling, and I think they have one floor plan that I kind of have beef with, because it's not this one, but they've got another floor plan that's got this in the master bedroom. And then they've got another vault that goes into the bathroom, but they don't line up quite right. And it bugs me every time I see it. I don't want to ruin you guys and tell you which one it is, but if you ever go into a David Weekly and notice it, you'll never be able to unnotice it. This one's cool because it's got the little homework desk here over in the corner. I'm sure this could be like a work from home setup or something like that, but I can't remember. I can't tell you how many times I've had to sit at the kitchen table as a kid and do my homework, because we had like 5 kids in my family, and so my parents had this really long table in the kitchen. They'd make us all sit down and do our homework there to make sure that we were actually doing it. Another thing I love David Weekly for, they're really smart about these galley style showers, where they don't put the hardware under the shower head where you would have to get drenched to turn on the shower. They put it over here, so that way you can turn it on, not get wet and cold while you wait for it to heat up, and still, be able to prep and everything for your shower. Yeah. So they just have really fun floor plans. I like their stuff. They're smart about it. They're a little creative at the same time, but yeah, Somerset and South Point, both really desirable areas, and honestly, some of the last ones you can get into that area of Mansfield at this point, because it's building out really quickly. Another one over here, Normandy Homes, they have their own own little neighborhood going on. Watson's Branch. It's not huge, but yeah, if you want to be on the Fort Worth side of the Metroplex, you just need to be a little bit closer to Fort Worth or something, this is an option. Normandy Homes makes some decent houses. They're kind of like, yeah, you see they got like some decorative touches to their kitchen area, the shiplap and everything. But everything's very, you could see, like very neutral, very white. So if you're looking for a little bit more flair and as far as color materials go, you may need to just talk to them about like maybe making some custom changes if you're building. Otherwise, hope you got some really good interior decorating skills. But yeah, the rest of the stuff looks really good on its own. It's just very light. Some people love that color scheme option. You got some overhead windows here, nice big picture windows in the back. Master bed and bathroom. I like this here. You got like the shower nook across from here, so you still get, it's not like in the way, it's not eating up space. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so Watson's Branch, so I will say, so with Watson's Branch, since it's not a huge neighborhood, this is basically all the amenities, but they do have a lot of trails. So I don't know if you can really see it. Let me see if I can, where was that at? Yeah, so right south of East Debbie. Try not to waste too much time here, but so there's East Debbie. So landing at Mansfield, which means, yeah, so here's like Watson's Branch. And if I take a look at the satellite view, they got like these trails that go all around the neighborhood here and kind of connect to the parks. So that's probably one of the bigger draws of Watson's Branch is you get a few miles of walking trail. Really nice because it's nice and wide. It goes through the forest area over here. Really, really cute. I know that's a really big thing for a lot of people. We've had a lot of people that want to be close to trails. So if that's something you're looking for, you're not worried too much about the rest of the amenities. You could save $100,000 or whatever on your house by just moving up the street a little bit. All right, so we're going to make a jump over to the other side of the Metroplex again, and we're going to take a look at one of the more sought-after areas in the North Dallas area, and that's McKinney. So everyone knows about Frisco. A lot of people know about Plano. Plano's a little difficult to get into for new homes because, as you can see, it's a very well developed area. There's not a lot of listings. Frisco's really hard to get into just because good luck getting into Frisco under $900,000 with a new home. I mean, there's some options here, don't get me wrong. But McKinney is really popping off, especially the areas around McKinney. Now, McKinney's pretty built out. It's going to be hard to be in McKinney. But with how much stuff there's going on in McKinney itself, the amount of shopping, restaurants, commerce, logistics going on here, a lot of people have started moving really close and pushing all the way out to places like Anna and Melissa. Now, we're not going to go that far out because lucky for you guys, y'all can afford to be a little bit closer if you're looking in this price range. And you can see we've already got a lot of stuff that's popping up just on the other side of the 380 here. So we're going to take a look at some of these. There's Trophy. Let's see what other builders we got here. Coventry. We'll take a look at one of theirs. No, maybe not. Y'all don't have any photos. Coventry, what are you doing, my guy? But anyway, sorry. Before we dig too deep into the housing stuff, I haven't even told you about McKinney. The schools are actually decent. If I take a look here, I forget what exactly they're rated. Since I live on the Fort Worth side of the Metroplex, I don't have as much visibility over here. Yeah, see? So we got A-rated schools here for McKinney, which for a city that size is honestly kind of surprising because once things start getting as dense as they are in McKinney, you know, the school systems start to get flooded. They get a little worn down. That's why places like Dallas ISD and Fort Worth ISD aren't the best ratings as far as school districts go. So the fact that they're keeping that A rating, good on you, McKinney. But yeah, as far as safety goes, if you're in McKinney proper, it's, like I said, it's a little bit more dense. It's a little bit more urban in certain parts with how much industry and commerce there is going on there. So safety is, I would say, like maybe a tick below what most people are looking for to live inside McKinney. But the cool thing is, if you're looking in the $500,000 to $600,000 range, you're kind of like skirting the outskirts of McKinney, where it gets a little bit more suburban, and the safety basically shoots up at this point. Like, there's no reason to be out here unless you're here for the residents. So you're not getting like a bunch of randos and stuff going through the neighborhoods, which means being close to McKinney and still having safety is a viable option. So we got Normandy Homes here. Since we already looked at one of theirs, I'm just checking to see who all's available. I wonder if Trophy even has any photos. All right. So Trophy Signature Homes. I don't remember if, I think we looked at TriPoint a minute ago. Trophy makes, they're kind of like a mid-range production builder as well. Yeah. But you still get like some flare items. So you get trim on your cabinet, tumbler style cabinetry, a little bit of a pop-up here, 4-inch baseboards. It's just a 7-foot doors, but you still get windowsills, which, believe it or not, that's some places where builders will try to save money. That's one of those ones, though, windowsills, kind of like the framed mirrors, where you don't realize it's not there until somebody points it out. But yeah, you get picture windows in the back, nice, tall. I think those are 7-foot windows. Vaulted ceilings here. So these guys went with more of the structural touches as opposed to a lot of additions. So the rest of the stuff is pretty standard, but they did add some structural options to the house here. So saloon style doors going into the bathroom. Okay, that's cute. They did do the sink on counter thing. This is the thing I was talking about. Look, if that's your thing, that's your thing. It's just not mine. I'm gonna try and keep my opinion to myself on that one. But yeah, it looks like if you want to be close to McKinney, this is probably going to be one of your better bets. You get a little tuck away there under the stairs, it looks like. And what is this? This is Painted Tree. I don't think I've actually been to Painted Tree, so I can't speak on what the amenities and things are in that area. But here's TriPoint again. This is in, again, Painted Tree. Trying to find you guys another one over here. David Weekly. So we could take a look at theirs. Again, wow, Painted Tree. I need to go out there because it looks like a lot of the houses ended up in that neighborhood. But yeah, to be perfectly honest, most of the people living close to McKinney, they move a little bit further out. So if you're okay with a little bit more drive time, I would say check out Melissa. Melissa and Anna both have phenomenal sports facilities. There's like a whole DBAT setup in Anna. Melissa has A-rated schools as well, so that's not going to be an issue. The safety is way higher in both of these than McKinney, and it's going to add maybe 10 minutes to your drive time, but you have everything you need inside the city here with Melissa. So there's a Buc-ee's, there's like a Tom Thumb, a Walmart, and some small shopping and stuff like that, all while being close enough that you can just take the 75 into McKinney and hit up the downtown there if you want to go party. A little nightlife away from the places you live. But you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck out here. And so while this technically wasn't on the the agenda, I do want to check it out because it looks like you're going to have a lot more options out here. And Taylor Morrison is I forget who their parent company is. It's a very well-known builder. I'm blanking on the name right now. But they make a really good house, and they add a little bit more flair to their floor plans, stuff that you're not going to find with some of the other builders. So while this facade is very plain and painted brick, whether you love it or not, it is really good for the longevity of the house. Yeah, see, you're still getting really good quality materials. I could tell just by looking at it, you're getting like 1.5 inches of granite or quartz or whatever this is here. Undermount sink. You get picture windows, and the backsplash goes all the way around. So it looks really nice. They did like kind of that millennial gray look, which not my favorite, but I know some people like it. It got really stormtroopery there for a minute in the 2020s. Everything was black and white. It was crazy. Yeah, you got the luxury vinyl plank, some decorative banister going down the side of your stairs. Really high ceilings here with some upper windows. All picture windows, by the way. And I know we saw some egress windows in some of those bedrooms earlier, but yeah, this really does just open everything up to have the picture windows like that. This looks like a theater. This is probably the master with the bay windows. Bathroom, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the corner bathtub. It's just kind of a pain to get in and out. But if you need to save space, that's a great way to maximize your square footage in your bathroom. Keeps the walkway nice and open. Yeah, the rest of it pretty standard, nothing crazy. Let's see if we can get another builder up here. What we got, guys? What we got? Del Webb, I've never seen you guys before. Perry Homes. I don't think I got a chance to show you guys a Perry home. Maybe I did, but huge fan of their stuff. Yeah, so this is going to be upper 500s for about 2,500 square feet. But dude, just like their stuff is it's so very grand and bold. Like I love it. We actually found some of their stuff in the 400,000s, which I think is insane. I didn't know you could buy Perry homes for that cheap, honestly. But yeah, you got herringbone all the way across the front of this thing. A lot of decorative brick options. Yeah, this is more of the shotgun style living room layout. So I wish it was more zoomed in. I like this one right in here because this is actually the same one that they have at their model in Walsh and Aledo. And it's got this big serving counter that goes all the way along the side here. So if you're hosting, you can, well, first of all, you can use it for decoration or whatever. But like if you're hosting, especially on like Thanksgiving, you got people over for game day or something, you have a place to actually like put a lot of the items. So if there's like standing room for events, you can have stuff along the side, or you can have like all the stuff that won't fit on the table, like the desserts and whatnot, whenever you have Thanksgiving going on. And then you could just transfer the stuff you need as the dinner moves along. But yeah, you know, nice big windows in your living or in your bedroom here. And I do actually really like how big the bedroom is in this floor plan. It's really deep, but it's also kind of wide. So it's still rectangular, but I remember that it just feels like there's a lot of elbow room in that one. This is like a little, this is, I believe, in the entryway hallway, like as you go into the back of the house. It's tucked away behind the, like off to the side of the kitchen, but it's like a study area. Yeah, so it's like right there. So you can actually see it from here. Yeah, wood-like tile. Their stuff is very, I don't want to say plain, but their stuff is very, I guess plain's a good word for it, but it's, I don't like, plain almost has a negative connotation because their stuff is very, really good materials. They're putting stuff in there that just, it feels very luxury, but it just doesn't have a ton of flair to it. So it fits everything. You're not going to walk into a Perry home in 20 years and be like, oh yeah, this was built in 2025, obviously because of this, you know, architectural feature or something like that. You can walk into some houses and you're like, yeah, this is obviously a 70s house or obviously a 2000s house. You're not going to get this with this. It's very timeless. Yeah. Nice covered patio, the works. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Perry homes as well, if you couldn't tell. So yeah, I would say if you can suffer the drive time, that extra 10 minutes, I know it can be a pain, but I'd highly advise you to go check out Melissa. It's growing really quickly. So you may not even need to drive into town. They may just build everything you need out there soon. But yeah, while we're on the Dallas side of the Metroplex, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because I know a lot of people are trying to be close to Frisco with how much is going on over there in the North Dallas area. You really don't want to miss out on an economic opportunity is like what's going on up here. You can even see everyone and their mother is trying to move to the North Dallas area. So just want to make sure you guys had that because Melissa may not even be on your radar. I know a lot of people know about Salina and Prosper and Aubrey and all that jazz, but these are kind of hidden gems at the moment. It's definitely something that you want to consider. And while we only looked at new homes, guys, there's a lot more on the market. If you guys are curious about what we didn't cover, the areas that we didn't, point out to you guys, give us a call. We can set up a search that's going to help you guys out, be something more akin to like what y'all are looking for. If this wasn't quite your jive, or if you guys are really curious and maybe you want to save a little bit of money on your house, we actually covered all the best places to live in the 400,000s in the last video. I would say go ahead and check that one out. But if this is your first video or you're just starting your home search, I'd actually suggest you go check out this video where we talk about the 10 things that could screw you if you mess these up whenever you're looking to buy a home in Dallas-Fort Worth. But otherwise, if you are looking to buy or sell, just remember, keep calm and call Tom.